Hey Riley. My name's Kimberly Stokes and I'm going to be talking with you for a little while today. Just want to first remind you that this meeting is confidential, so anything that's said here in this meeting will stay here in this meeting today, on both of our ends, my end and your end. We'll try to keep it here between us. The first thing that I would like to do is get to know you a little bit better, and in order to do that, I'm going to ask if you would please draw your family. It can be stick figures, it doesn't have to be, but you can just take your time, just draw your family, and then we're going to talk about that for a minute.
So who's in my family or who's actually in my house?
Your family.
Okay then. I don't know how to do that. There's too many of them. Besides these four.
Who are those for?
My mom, dad, me, and my nephew.
And that's who's directly in your house?
Yes. Lots of time.
So what are the other parts of your family?
My sisters. One's across the bay and one's in Fair Bay.
So just two other siblings outside of your house right now?
No. I think it's four. I can't count. I don't know.
So two sisters, one,
3 sisters.
okay, 3 sisters. One lives out of town,
Yes.
one lives kind of local,
Yeah.
and what about the third one?
5 so like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so she's kind of local too. Okay, when you
Apparently nobody has faces.
So you only drew these 4 to begin with because these are the only 4 that live in your house. Are you closer to these people than you are to your other siblings that don't live in your house?
Yes.
Yes. So tell me about the relationship between you and your mom and your dad and your nephew.
Like, I don't get what you're trying to say.
How is your relationship between you and your mom?
It's decent, like a mother and daughter relationship. I don't really know what else to say.
Okay. What about you and your dad?
Yeah, maybe.
Do they work? Either your mom or your dad?
My dad does. Mom can't.
Okay. Where does your dad work?
Offshore somewhere in Trinidad.
Okay. Does he work off a lot and then come home, or how does that work?
A month home and a month at work.
Okay. How does that work when he comes home?
I don't remember. I don't know. He's home for a month and he goes back. I don't really know.
Is it different around the house when your dad comes home?
Definitely.
Definitely. How different?
Very different.
How does it change when it's just you, your mom, and your nephew, and then when your dad comes home?
Everybody tends to be more like sad. I don't know. Mad.
Okay.
It's intense. I don't know.
It's intense. Why do you think that happens?
Because we live different lives than he does, and when he comes home, he disrupts everything. Or one of us, I don't know.
Disrupts?
Yes. I can't talk.
Sure you can.
I can't speak words right. Anyway.
So, what about your nephew? He's how old?
2. Terrible 2. He's terrible.
What do you mean by terrible?
He's terrible. And he acts out when my dad comes home.
Why do you think that is?
Because you don't see him that often.
Yeah. He has to kind of relearn your dad every time he comes home, huh? Yeah, that's hard for a 2-year-old. Do you feel like you have to do that still?
Yes.
So it's an adjustment time when dad comes home, huh? Okay. What about your other family outside of your house?
When they live. Okay.
What's your relationship like with them? Do you see them very often?
Maybe twice a week.
Twice a week? So that's pretty often for somebody who doesn't live right here with you. Do they come to your house to see mom and dad? No, y'all go visit them. What, do they have any children, or what's it like when you go to visit them?
My sisters,
Mhm.
well, one sister can't have kids, the other one don't have any, and my other one has 3. But I wanna see 2.
What's it like to see her kids?
I'm very frustrated. A lot of arguing.
Why is that?
Because we're around the same age, and it's weird. I don't know.
Are y'all competitive?
Not really.
What makes it weird that you're around the same age?
I don't know, she always complains about schoolwork. Drives me crazy because it's not really that hard.
School comes easy to you?
Most of the time, unless you have a science that don't understand.
Science is hard. It's not an easy subject. What's your favorite subject?
Not science. Math.
Math. That's a tough one too. It's good that you're good at it though. What's your thoughts towards your math?
It's easy. Nobody gets it. I don't really.
Nobody gets it but you, huh? So how does that make you feel that you get it?
Hopeless. Because if I don't understand how to do it, nobody understands how to do it.
Well, how does it make you feel when you get it and maybe some of the other classmates don't have it yet?
I don't know. Just it's easy and that's it. I don't know.
It's just not something that you struggle with, so you like it? Okay. All right, Riley, well, I know a little bit of background. I know a little bit about you, a little bit about your family. Let's talk a little bit about some long-term goals. Okay, long-term goals, how old are you? 13. So long-term goals are things goals that you want to either have accomplished or be in the process of accomplishing in, let's say, 10 years. So I want you to imagine, I want you to pretend that you're 23 years old.
Very specific.
Yep, 10 years. So what, you can be, just be completely creative, right? So you're 23 years old. Where do you see yourself at 23 years old? Let's pretend you're a huge success in whatever it is that you want to do.
I don't know what I want to do.
Okay, so we'll focus on that in just a minute. So let's pretend whatever it is that you're a huge success. Okay, so think for just a minute. Before we go into this, think for just a minute. What are your options? Right? What do you think that you would like to do? Or what is something you like to do now? Could you make that a career?
No.
What are some things that you like to do?
Play volleyball, and that's about it. Sleep.
Yeah, you can't make a career out of sleep. Playing volleyball, that's athletic. You have to be good in school to play sports. What else?
That's it. Not really good at anything else.
Okay, so let's go back to our question here. Where would you see yourself in 10 years? Do you live in a house? Do you live in an apartment? Do you have a job? Do you have a family? Do you have any children? If so, how many children do you see yourself having?
I do not want any kids. I have plenty of nieces and nephews.
Okay, that's a good start. So at 23, we don't want any kids because we got tons of nieces and nephews.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else?
I think I have like 12. But I can't count them all because I don't know yet. Like my stuff. Anyway.
That's a lot. 12.
Yeah. I don't know. Living in a house. Maybe.
Living in a house. What about school?
Hopefully it'll be over. I don't know.
Yeah? What do you think, in the process of those 10 years, So you want to end up in 10 years in a house. No kids yet.
Not at all.
What about, what do you want to have already accomplished by the time you're 23? So
Well, college.
college,
Don't want to go, but I have to do it.
okay?
That's it.
So we want to have college finished, obviously high school finished, and be in some kind of career, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what yet, right? And then hopefully be in a house.
Or at least my parents. I don't know.
Okay, maybe still at your parents at 23?
I told her I would leave, and so yes.
Okay. What about 33? What about 20 years?
I don't know if we got that far.
Sometimes at 13 it's hard to think that far in the future. But you know two things. You know you want to be done with school, and you know you want to be in a house. And by 33, do you think you'll still be with mom and dad? Or do you think you'll be in your own house?
Hopefully my own, but it's always my parents' house. So.
Well, that's good. That gives me some more information about your family, and that they, that you have a caring support system, and that they want you there and you want to be there. That's good.
Not sure they actually want me there, but it'll be alright.
Okay, so let's talk about some short-term goals. What grade are you in right now, Riley? 8th grade. What is a short-term goal that you can think of that is specific and measurable?
Pass science.
Okay, we want to pass science, okay? How much longer do you have to pass science?
I don't know. 2 quarters, 18 weeks, something.
Okay, 2 more quarters, okay? How are you doing right now in science?
Well, it's 85, so
85, okay, so that's not bad. What are your concerns?
studying.
Studying, okay, so we've got to become a better studier. What about the work involved?
It's not hard, but I don't get it.
Okay. What do you mean it's not hard?
All you gotta do is read and do it, but I don't read, so I don't get it.
Okay. So we got to be a better studier, and we also have to stay on top of our, is that classwork or is that homework?
We don't have homework, so
Okay, so classwork. So you have reading assignments, and it's science, so do you have any labs or anything like that?
we got 2 labs. All you have to do is listen and write down stuff, so.
You do pretty well on those? Good. That's good. Okay, so to study better, so our first goal is to pass science. So in order to pass science, we know that we have to be a better studier. We have to get better at studying. And in order to do that, or start studying, okay? So in order to pass science, we have to get better at studying. How do we get better at studying?
Actually study,
And how do we do that?
look over our notes.
There you go. So do you take notes daily in class?
No.
No? So how are you gonna study? Are you supposed to take notes daily in class?
No.
So what do you do that you can look back over and study? Or that you can look at to study?
Read the book.
Okay. Alright, so we're gonna read our assigned pages in our book. Okay, you can read the assigned pages. Do you memorize them after you just read them one time?
No.
So, I guess we don't want to memorize, we want to learn. So how do we learn them better? Because sometimes just reading it one time is just, you get through a paragraph and you don't even remember what you read.
No, my classes were loud.
So what can you do to get better at studying?
I'm just read
just read it one time?
A couple times. Whether or not I memorize it or not, then that's,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's okay as long as you try, right? That's good. Okay, so some short-term goals. I'm gonna write that down. We want to pass science.
the south was easy. They didn't, not all of it.
Okay, so you enjoyed science in the 7th grade. What's the difference in the subjects? Because now you're in 8th grade, now you're struggling with it a little bit. What's the difference between 7th grade science and 8th grade science?
Well, one's more advanced,
Yep.
and I have no clue what topic we're learning in science.
Well, so from 7th to 8th grade, obviously it gets a little bit more advanced. Is it the same topic?
I don't know what the topic is in 8th grade, so,
Well, do you remember what you did in 7th grade?
yes.
Is it anywhere close to what you did in 7th grade? No.
No.
So different grade levels, a different branch of science, maybe? What kind of science did you learn in 7th grade?
Chromosomes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Kind of like life science. And you're not doing any of that in 8th grade? It's
I
all
think so.
it's all new stuff, right? Okay. So we're gonna pass science, and to do that, we've got to get better at studying, and to do that, we've got to read. What else is it? What's another short-term goal? That was perfect. You got 2 quarters to do that.
I don't know, that's kind of it.
Okay. What about your other subjects?
I'm passing all of them, and I'm not struggling
That's good.
for now.
What about next year? Have you started thinking about
No.
where will you be next year?
9th grade.
9th grade. So you'll be moving from middle school to high school. Is that on a different campus?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
Don't want to go
Why?
because I like Alba better. Shockingly, but it's better.
Why do you think Alba's better?
Because I've been here for 3 years and I know how it works
So you're comfortable?
for the most part.
Yeah. Well, what scares you about going to the high school?
It's a different campus.
Yeah. What else?
A lot of juvenile stores.
Oh, yeah. Anything else? So it's completely new as far as the geography of it, because you've got a completely new building, and then you've got a whole nother school that you're gonna merge with, so there's a ton of people there. So that can be kind of scary. Maybe we can work on some things to kind of make that not as scary, some kind of transitional skills to make that not as scary. So, okay, so we've got some long-term goals, we've got some short-term goals. We're gonna do 2 more things. One of them, the first one we're gonna do is getting rid of negative thoughts. So, I've heard you say some. So I want you to take just a minute and write those down here. There's 6 legs.
Under it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we have 6 legs. So if you can think of 6 thoughts that come to your mind.
Oh,
You got plenty of time.
very antisocial.
Okay.
Oh, can't spell.
See, that was negative. Think about, because this is about you, about yourself, so are some things that you think about yourself?
Do I have to do 6? I can't hang on to anything.
Yeah, what do you think? What are some things that you've said maybe about yourself?
I say
Explain.
a lot of stuff about myself.
Okay. Tell me some of those.
Some of these.
Maybe you can break this one down. What do you mean by that?
Eye contact. So I put my here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What else does that involve?
Can't spell it all.
Okay.
Something about this and I can't figure out how to word it.
Would it be better if you told me?
I don't know how to select groups at all
Uh-huh.
or conversations with people.
And because,
I actually have to talk to somebody and make eye contact with them.
and that makes you,
Wanna leave? I don't know.
okay? How does that make you feel?
I don't really know, like anxious or something else.
Okay. I'll put that in there.
What am I supposed to put here?
How you feel?
I spell anxious.
X-I-U-S. Very good.
Still can't spell.
Okay. We're gonna take this. We're not gonna look at it. Now, we're gonna write 6 positive, because nobody likes ants anyway. Nobody likes negative thoughts. We're gonna get rid of those. Everybody likes flowers. They make things look nice and they smell nice.
No,
So-
spell flowers.
Now we're gonna do 6 positive things about yourself. So spend a little time reflecting on something that you can say about yourself that's positive about yourself. And we can talk about it as you're writing. Smart, you are very smart. Kind, okay, that's good. Helpful, yeah. Very good. What else?
That's about it. I don't really know.
Okay. So, you are very smart and kind and helpful. Who has anybody told you those things?
Yes.
Who has told you those things?
Teachers.
Teachers. Okay. What about some things that your friends would say about you? Some positive things.
That I'm smart and I have them. That's about it.
Okay. Well, those are 2 very good things. So we're gonna, instead of focusing on this, we're gonna focus on these positives. Okay, so every time something negative comes up, guess what we're gonna say? No, no, no. We're smart and kind and helpful. Okay? Good deal. All right. So we've talked, you have talked to me about social settings. Tell me a little bit more about social settings. and
I try to avoid them.
you try to avoid them. All social settings?
Most of them.
Okay, well, what kind of things are you trying to avoid from that social setting?
Making eye contact with people.
Okay. And what is it about making eye contact?
And the person staring at me.
Can you make eye contact with that person?
Depends on who it is.
And what does that mean?
If it's like my family or friends, then yes. And if it's like a teacher, then no.
Okay. What is the difference between your family and friends and a teacher?
Well, I'm around them more often than a teacher.
How do you feel around your family and friends?
I belong, I don't.
Okay. Like you belong, okay. So do you feel like you don't belong with teachers?
No.
No. What is it about the teachers?
I don't know, they expect good grades.
Okay, so they expect a lot out of you. Is it just teachers that you have not problems, but is it just teachers that you don't feel maybe comfortable around?
My mom's friends, some of them.
So, just adults in general?
Depends on what kind of them.
Yeah? What do you mean? What are your qualifications?
I don't know, like 6th grade teachers are okay with because I've seen them for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So new people.
Yes.
Okay. Just new adults?
Yes, sort of.
So new people your age don't really bother you?
Not as much as new adults. but
Okay.
yes.
Oh, okay, so they do a little bit? Okay, so let's go through some of these, cause we talked about, you said groups, you like to avoid groups. What is it about a group? What do you mean by group? What's your qualification for the word group, or what's your definition?
I do the work, but they don't. They slack a lot.
Oh, so you're talking about in school, like
Yeah.
group work? Okay,
Or group conversations.
okay. Because you feel like you always get left with the biggest amount of work in like a school setting. Well, what about outside of like the classroom? Are you comfortable with groups outside of school?
Like if we have like a family party or something.
Yeah. You are? Yeah. Or like family parties? Okay. What about, let's say like a field day?
I don't have a big field day at all.
Okay. Last year? You didn't go last year?
Mm.
Did you go, well, last year you were in 7th grade, did you go in 6th grade? Do you plan to go in 8th grade? So what is it about field day? Because that's a time where you can hang out with your friends but the whole school's out there. So what is it about field day that makes you feel uncomfortable?
See people I don't like and know they feel the same about me.
Okay. So a little bit of confrontation maybe is what would you say confrontation maybe is a little bit of what you're trying to avoid? Okay. Alright, so let's go through some of these things. Okay, this first one here, it says, you see your friend whispering to someone else and looking at you. When you come over, they stop talking. What do?
Walk away. Yeah.
Who are your friends? Let's make this personal.
Okay. Carrington and Aubrey.
Okay, Carrington and Aubrey. Okay, so when you see Carrington and Aubrey, they are whispering to each other and they see you coming and they stop. What do?
Ask what they were talking about.
Okay, that's a good way to handle the situation. Because those are two people that you're comfortable around, right? Those would you say that those are your two closest friends? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're close enough to them to kind of ask what's going on. Okay, so that's very good. It's always good to ask what's going on, even when we might not like the result. All right, here is another situation. You asked your parents if you could have a friend over this weekend, and they said no. Now you are mad. What do you do?
Just walk off and continue with my life.
That's a very mature answer. Okay.
It don't happen very often, but
Okay, so what would happen?
yeah, but they don't ever say no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Well, it depends on who it is.
right. So let's twist it a little bit and say, because usually if it's your best friend, they know the family, your parents know the family, and so they're okay with you guys spending time together. Well, let's say it's somebody that you've grown close to at school, but maybe they don't know at home.
Do they say no?
Then they say no. Well, how would you feel about that?
Just accept the fact. They said no, go on.
Mm-hmm. What would be something you could do if you wanted to have a friendship with this person? What would be a way that you could do that? You could hang out with that person after school or out of school.
Birthday party or just something at a park.
Okay. So something where maybe maybe your parents could meet them before, something like that. Okay. All right. This is a good one. The person sitting next to you keeps poking you with a pencil during silent reading. Obviously, it's annoying you. What do you do?
You tell them to stop, and if they don't, then probably take it and break it. I don't know.
What instead of breaking their pencil, because
Tell
that
the teacher.
that might cause a little disruption. So what was that? What did you say?
Tell the teacher.
Tell the teacher. Sometimes we're a little bit leery of doing that though, because what's the downside of telling the teacher? Is there a downside to telling the teacher?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. What would that be?
I don't know what is happening.
So usually teachers help you out. Good. Good. Okay. Let's say, I'm going to switch this one up a little bit. Let's say you go to lunch one day and it's in a different schedule, maybe a testing schedule or something like that, and you see your friends at a table, but the table's full. What do you do?
Sit at a different table.
And what are the consequences there? What would you feel like if your best friends were at a table and there wasn't enough room for you?
I wouldn't care. Just sit at a different table.
Okay. Would you talk to them about it?
Probably not.
Okay. Let's see. Same deal here, but this one's a little twist. So you go to sit beside one of your close friends because there's a seat open, but they won't let you sit there. They say it's saved for somebody else.
Okay.
So how,
Just sit somewhere else.
well, how would that make you feel? So that's a type of confrontation there that, would you be comfortable having that conversation?
Depends on who it is.
What does that mean? What do you mean? It depends on who it is.
Like if it's actually my closest friend, or if it's like the second one, or whatever.
What if it's your closest friend?
Then I would just ask them after school or something.
Mm-hmm. And what if it's not your closest friend?
Then I just walk off.
You wouldn't ask them about it? What? How many close friends would you say that you have?
Like 4.
Okay, well that's not bad. That's a good number. Okay. Alright. Alright. Your brother or sister, you got 3 sisters, right? They borrowed something from you, and to you, it was really important. Or your nephew. Maybe it was really important to you and he accidentally broke it. Or they haven't returned it yet.
Well, I don't really have any important things, so it probably wouldn't matter.
Okay? You don't have anything that means something to you?
Well, I mean, everything means something to me, but it
Yeah.
doesn't, like,
It's not like a life.
you know, you can always do that for.
Yeah, that's a good outlook. That's a good way to look at it. Okay. So, the person beside you in class keeps trying to look at your paper, at your test paper. You're taking a test.
They do that to me every day, so that's fine.
So what do?
Move,
Move?
cover my ears.
Cover your answers. Good. Good deal. Both very mature answers. Okay. Alright, Riley. So we are going to conclude this meeting. And we will meet again. Let's talk about, so just to recap, we introduced you introduced me to your family and some of the people that are most important to your life, your family and your friends throughout the session. We talked about some long-term goals and some short-term goals. We are going to get rid of all those negative thoughts and replace them with our positive affirmations. And then we worked on some social scenarios here. We're going to focus on some skills to work through. Since we've gotten to know each other, we're going to focus on some skills that you can do. Some coping skills and just some skills in general that can help you make eye contact and be bold and be able to work in those groups and be around those groups of people and groups of friends and be in social places and not feel uncomfortable, because that's the worst part about it, is when you have that uncomfortable feeling. So we want to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling. So we're going to try to focus on that the next few times we meet. So thank you for meeting with me, and I'll see you next time, okay? All right, thank you, Riley.